Tania Sutherland, and today we are going to be doing my first starter series on a Friday. I'm going to start doing a sew-along video. It'll be sew-along videos from my patterns, as well as maybe just sew-along things that I think that might interest you, to give you some guidance, some more tips that I'm showing you, how to actually make the garments fit you better in the process of sewing them. Try them on, and then obviously pin, tuck, take the garment in. Have a look in front of the mirror, see what you need to adjust, go back to the sewing machine, make the adjustments, and then go to your pattern and also adjust your pattern so the garments fit you properly. You know, business startup, something about how to start your own online business, how to create your own wardrobe because you are sewing for fun for yourself, or you just don't like what the shops have and you want to be individual and authentic to your own style. So this is what we'll be doing on a Friday on my YouTube channel. I'll leave all the links down below of any patterns or products that I'm discussing and talking about. So let's get started. Alright, so when you start your sewing project, it's all about bringing your individual style through to your garment. So what I'm doing now is, this is basically like a little t-shirt style dress, and I have found some striped stretch fabric. So my pattern has got a few variations. So how do you go about bringing through your own designer touch, your own designer style, that own individual designer look that is suitable for your body shape and is part of your personality? All right, so my pattern has got a hoodie. It's a round neck. There's a few variations in the pattern. You can put a zip in the front. You can make it long sleeve, 3/4 sleeve, short sleeve. I'm just going to do a 3/4 sleeve and with the cuff. Okay. All right. So this is the basic sort of design of the pattern. And what I've decided to do is to take the hoodie, and I've got some leftover sequins. So I'm going to put that on the inside of the hoodie so that when I wear it, you're going to see the sequins. I mean, why not add some stripes and sequins together? So this is plastic, so it's not that hard metal that actually is quite rough and hurts you, or it can hook your fabric. So I'm going to be using this as the front part of the opening of my little dress. So that means that I could also wear it open as a jacket. So now I'm creating two styles in one. So it's a dress and it can be worn as a jacket. The other thing that I've decided to do was let's play around with the straps. So here is the one side of the front. And here is the other side, the opposite side. So I've decided to go vertical and horizontal with my stripes. And then I've got some lace. So this is some lace applique that I've decided that I'm also going to put onto the actual garment. I've just pinned it there for now. I might change my mind, but I kind of think that this just makes the whole garment look a little bit more, you know, designerish and more stylish. So my zip's going to come in over here. Then of course my hood with the sequins. And then of course with the sleeve. So the one sleeve, the stripes are being cut down. And on the other sleeve, it is going horizontal. So there we go. This is just how you can play and make some different variations to your garment to bring out your designer touch and be playful and experiment. All right, now you're going to sew the garment. First thing you're going to do is just join your shoulders. So there's my two fronts. Here is my back. I'm placing them on top of one another so the right sides are kissing. I'm going to pin the shoulders and I'm going to stitch 1.5 centimeter seams. And then I'm going to go ahead and overlock them together. All right, now I'm just going to do the sleeve, and this would be a sleeve that you would put in when you are working with stretch fabrics. Okay, so I've matched up my sleeves. All right, so what you would do is basically find the center point of your crown of your sleeve, and you will make sure that your seams are facing towards the back. Look for your notches and follow up for your notches. I'm going towards the underarm and just pinning the sleeve together. By the crown area for the ease in the crown of the sleeve. Alright, pin both your sleeves and then go ahead and stitch it. Alright, so pin both the sleeves and give it a stitch. Right, once you've stitched the crown of the sleeve into the armhole, you can go ahead and overlock it and do that to the other sleeve as well. The side seams and the under part of the sleeve, which I'm going to do all in one go. I've already pinned it. This is my side seam, my underarm coming towards the hemline of my sleeve. It's always a good idea to put your pins with the head on the outside of the garment, so as you're sewing, it's easy for you to pull the pins out. Once I've done the side seam and the underarm of the sleeve, I will do to the other side and then take it to the overlocker and then try it on. To get that perfect customized fit garment, it's about, making the garment, trying it on, fitting it and making any adjustments, do any pinning, go back and re-sew it where necessary. In other words, taking it in or opening up seams or putting darts in, and making notes on your pattern as you go along to make the garments fit you, so in future if you're using the same pattern, you've already made notes or adjustments within your pattern. Alright, now I've just tried it on. So at the back, I find that I have a sway back, so I've got quite a curve in my back as well, so I always do prefer to have something a bit more shaped. But even though this is supposed to be a t-shirt dress, it's supposed to be a bit more relaxed, so you decide how you want the garment to fit you. But for me, I think I'm just going to put a center back little seam going all the way down the bottom and creating a dart within the seam. So I'm just going to do like a 1/2 centimeter seam from the neckline, curving into the waist, going all the way down to the hemline. So I folded the center back in absolute half. Make sure that my side seams are matching, my shoulders are matching. And now I've just pinned it on the center back. And you can basically take some chalk. Enjoy this kind of content where I'm talking about sewing and the creativity around it and how to find your own designer elements into your sewing projects, whether you're sewing for yourself, creating a wardrobe for your certain lifestyle, or whether you are, designing and creating a small collection to sell and you sort of need that designer touch and how to go about being different, then this is the place to be. These are the kind of things that I want to share with you. And if you like that kind of content, how about giving me a thumbs up, press that subscribe button down below and help me grow my channel, because I am definitely on a journey to get to that silver plaque from YouTube, which I can't wait to get with my career guide, bringing it to my house. Anyway, until then, enjoy your sewing and just love what you wear. And sort of mark where the pins are, or you can just sew along where the pins are and take them out as you go along. So I'm going to start from the back with a very tiny seam, and then just creating a bit of a curvature in my center back. And then of course when I tried it on, I pinned what the length of the actual dress that I want. So I've actually pinned up my hemline, so I know exactly where I must place my zip. So usually I would put my zip in first, but I first needed to try the garment on to see the fit, to see if I like it. If you don't want to do a center back seam, you can always just do two side back contour dots. In other words, you can fold, like I've done now, folded my back in half. You can fold it again in half and just sort of pin where the waistline is to where you need to create a curvature under the, from when you tried it on, this is your side seam, and where your waist had the most sort of curvature, let's say your waist is very small, so you know that it's your waist point, and you can actually just create a dot in the side panel of the back on the right hand side, and do the same on the left hand side. All right, so now I'm going to put the zip in, but normally I would do the zip first, but because I wanted to try it on and get the length correct and the sizing correct before I put the zip in. Okay, so now I know that this is more or less where I want my hemline to be. So I'm going to take the zip, a little bit long because I've now shortened it. Okay, so where I'm shortening it, I'm going to put a pin in here. And I'm just going to nip it with my scissor as indication for my hemline. I'm going to place my zip a 1/2 centimeter away from the edge. And I'm going to go ahead, take it back to the sewing machine and just sew it. I'm going to change to a zip foot, and I'm going to sew about 1/2 centimeter away from the teeth all the way to the top of the neckline. But what I suggest you first do is, because this is quite a stretchy fabric, and because I've cut the one front on the different grain, I'm just going to do a stay stitch first on my center fronts, and then I'm going to pin my zip and stitch it down using a zip foot. Alright, here we can see that I have stitched the facing, and there is the zip sandwich in between. I've come up to the front neckline, and now I'm going to work around the curves, and I'm going to just lift up my foot, my sewing foot, and I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to just gently give all that zip tooth. Just go over it. When you are working with knits, I suggest you use as many pins as possible. I'm just going to check if there's any tucks that I may have stitched. Alright, so there's a little tuck. I would just need to fix that. You can either do a top stitch right on top once you've hemmed it, or at this stage you can basically do a top stitch, stitching well, an edge stitch, stitching down the seams and the zip onto your facing. Alright, we're going to prepare the cuff for the sleeve. This is your pattern. So you're basically going to fold it over. You're going to stitch it closed. So there I've done it. There's a little notch over here. So you can actually just open it up. That's the fold. And you've got a notch in the center as well. So what you could do is open up your seams so it's less bulk. Find the halfway notch. The sleeve also has a halfway notch. You can see everything has been overlocked. All right, one other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stitch. I'm going to trim off the thread and I'm actually going to just stitch the seam down along the sequence. I'm going to stitch that down, and then on the back of the neckline of the facing and the neckline of the garment, I am going to give it an edge stitch, stitching down the seams just from the shoulder to shoulder on the inside of the neckline. Alrighty, we're doing the hemline. So here is the front facing where the zip is sandwiched in between. So now I've measured my hemline. It's going to be an 8 centimeter hem. I'm going to leave it nice and bulky and more heavy. I think it looks a bit more rich. Okay, so there's my 8 centimeters. I've taken one of my dressmaking markers and I have marked my 8 centimeters. I'm going to stitch that, then I'm going to bag that out. So in other words, if I have to stitch this, I'm going to bag that out. So that'll be the bottom. And then the bottom, the rest of the hemline, I'm just going to measure my 8 centimeters. I'm just going to snip off the seam there where I overlocked to release any tension. I'm going to measure my 8 centimeters. I'm going to make sure that my seam and the seam are completely aligned. Here's my 8 centimeters. And then I would just pin all the way around the hemline, my 8 centimeters, and then stitch it down either right on top of the overlocking or just below the overlocking stitch. So when you bag this out, this bulky area, you can trim this off, but I suggest first try it on before you trim it off. And you'll do this to both front and left hemlines of your zip area.